Hi, my lovelies. Welcome back to another episode of Strong and Bold. My name is Fortina, and today I'm going to talk about power imbalance and social justice. Why am I bringing this topic up? Because I can't ignore what's happening in the world. What's going on with Israel, Palestine, Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, all these things. I want Mozambique, Burkina Faso, Zimbabwe. I won't ignore the fact that the whole world, I'll say, it's under fire. And we have leaders, but we need to make them accountable to one point or another. The problem is that when social issues arise, crises come up, there's always power imbalance in the community and in the society, in the world in general. So we have seen places like developed countries, when there's like economic crashes, they start blaming migrants. When there's like no proper, like there's no jobs, they blame migrants. So that is always an example of power imbalance. Like someone who always blames someone for the lack of opportunities or the lack of government administrations doing their job. That's what I'll say clearly. Like I'll say that's what's actually going on. However, I do believe that strong and good leaders are raised by God. Not leadership is not for everybody. You can be a good manager, a good person, but leadership is not for everybody. And that's why we see most of the time when people are sitting in these offices, in these positions, we elect them, they fumble the bag. They don't do what they are meant to do or what they promise they're going to do for their community, their society, and even to their for their country. And then citizens, people are the ones who are suffering the consequences of lack of action or inactions that the leaders are choosing to do or not to do. For instance, in Africa, most of the countries suffer from bad leadership, not bad governance, bad leadership. In a way that most politicians, we know, they are corrupt. They will buy expensive houses, they'll buy cars, they'll invest there, they'll send their children abroad to study. But then the person who elected them is sitting behind. There's no even schools, there's no roads, and you are able to buy hammers, like expensive cars. I get upset. It baffles me, the fact that leaders, we elect them. They're not self-elected. We elect them. They promise they are going to do this according to their policies and the laws of the country, that wherever governs them, right? But then once they get into that power, in that seat, in that position, they don't become accountable. They don't do what they are meant to do, what they're supposed to do, not even what they promise. There is policies and there's constitutions that govern leadership. They govern the government in general. And then these so-called governors or government, they choose to do something different, and then the whole country suffers for it. It could be one country wants to start a war with another country. It could be all of these things. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that it also comes down to personal traits these people have and personal characters. I'll give the story of David in the Bible. Saul was elected, was made a king by God, right? But then people wanted other things that God didn't approve. So instead of Saul like standing firm and being the leader that God has created him to be, he started paving ways, right? So even if sometimes you are a good leader in a position, people might want something different, or even the society. But then you need to stand for what is right and for what is just. Not because of majority wants particular things that are not even part of your role. But what is your moral say about a particular thing? If it's not against the constitution of the country that you are a leader in. And then he wanted to please the people by creating idols and other things, and he did that. And then as soon as he started doing that, God already told Samuel the prophet that I'm raising up another leader, and this was David. David didn't look like a king. David wasn't from a lineage of kings. David was nowhere close to what people perceived could be a leader. He had brothers who looked and seemed like a leader in the eyes of the people. And I think one of his brother was even in the army. So clearly he was the next king from the eyes of people. But when Samuel went to anoint the king, he tried the first one, said no. And then he's like, God, you told me there was a king in this house. And then Jesse said, oh, there's one, the last born, he's with the sheep. He didn't even call him because there's like, this person can never be a leader. He doesn't look like a leader. He doesn't talk like a leader. He can't stand like a leader. So why should we even bother calling him? So the handsome ones, the tall ones, the ones who looked the part went. And unfortunately, they were not elected. They were not them. The oil didn't flow. David comes, he gets the oil. He was young, short, and he was a teenager at that time, I think. And then the oil flew. But God said one thing. He said he didn't choose him because of his physical appearance, or because he looks the part, because he's educated, because he has fined and dined with the high value society or other leaders, or monarchies of this world. No, because he was after God's heart. So I think that is the number one quality to have as a leader. Knowing that position is, you are not putting yourself in that position. God is putting you in that position by voters' right. They vote for you, so you get that position. It's not yourself who's putting yourself in that position. And then most of the time, these leaders forget the reason they were elected, the reason they are sitting in that position. And it's unfortunately to also say that sometimes when you are a good leader, they even assassinate you, they eliminate you because you don't want to start a war, or you're not going for what other world leaders are saying it's right and just. While we all know something is wrong, like it's not right. I'll give an example. Most people know the country of Rwanda and know that history was written about the genocide that happened in Rwanda. But what the world know that actually happened in Rwanda, it's totally wrong. It is until recent, like a few years ago, that the truth started coming out. Prior to that, and it's so funny, if developed first nation countries, they don't say a particular leader is a dictator, even if that person is killing his people like nothing. Like every day he can kill 100 people, but they would never portray that he's a dictator or he's a bad leader, because they have understanding with these particular leaders. But any other leader who will stand firm against being controlled, or being told how to lead or govern their countries. Can you imagine, like, now a country will say, I'll choose the president for you, and not and not the country itself, the people of that country choosing the president of that particular country. And as much as sounds bizarre or unimaginable, it actually happens. Most developing countries, the leaders are not elected by the people. They are chosen for them by other countries. And what I'm saying, it might even put me into trouble. But I just feel like it's about time that we do things about this. And for those people who don't know me, I've been like an activist for a long, 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 long time. I've participated in some campaigns, I have done some clips, I have spoken up against social injustice in different spaces for a period of time. But I feel like now I'm not just going to ignore these things are happening, especially in a country like Rwanda and Congo, because I am from East Africa. Like that's where my roots are, and things have been so bad for the last 30 years in both countries, especially in Congo, because people have been attacked for the last 30 years. They have been fighting wars that nobody even mentioned it. Nobody even said it. I did awareness about this issue last year, but before that I was always like, talking about it here and there. But last year is when I actually was so vocal about that. I reached out to some people who I knew were organizing the Free Palestine rally around, and they also mentioned those parts of the world that are being affected by similar things. So I'll strongly say that it is time that the world sees bad leaders as they are, not because they give foreign aids or because they give funds or because they are favored because of the things they do to other countries. They should be known if for good leadership and governance there actually is, rather than like covering things while other people are suffering. There's so many lives which has been lost, like over 30 million. There's so many people who don't even know where their loved ones are because of the wars that happen in Rwanda and Congo and Burundi. And there's so much hatred and animosity that comes with this kind of division. But all I can say is like the more we ignore and do not acknowledge these issues that actually exist, and especially in those parts, we will never have peace in the whole world. It's like, how can I say it? It's like, let's say you don't have peace at home, but you expect to have peace at work. It doesn't work like that. So peace starts within you, within your environment, in your home, in your community, in your society, and it even extends in the whole world. So all I can say is that God is the one who raises these leaders, but someone might not look good um on the paper, like they don't have the attributes. I'm not saying like education and all this, but the things like they're not from a royal family, or they're not from a lineage of leaders that we know, and we say we can't vote for this person because they don't have background in politics. But they could be the leaders that God has chosen for us, and we have the accountability of also choosing the leaders that we know are going to be good for the job, not just because of their family name or because their environment or because of their resources and their connections. No, we should also be accountable. When we choose bad leaders, we all suffer as a nation, as individuals. Like everybody suffers. And there's a point I posted, there's no winners in wars. whether you win that particular war, but you have lost so many people in the army. So many families can never be the same. So many generational traumas have arisen. So these things need to stop, and once and for all, and know that there's no one who's better than the other, either as a country or either as individuals. And that's why I say it comes down to social injustice and also imbalance of powers, because we always feel like people are beneath us, or this tribe is beneath us, or this country is beneath us, or because they don't have this social economical status, they're also beneath us. I feel now that's where we go wrong as individuals, by promoting this type of ideology. If we were to be able to see that all of us are human beings, yes, we don't have the same um, financial stabilities, but we should have the same rights. You have right to freedom, you have right to education, you have right to life, you have rights. So there's no way I'll feel like my rights are more important as a human being than yours. And that's where we go wrong in the society, in our communities, in our personality. We need to also choose leaders who have good traits, who have good personality traits, not just because of their status in the society, their money, but also do they have good attributes as individuals, as leaders, so that even if we are able to erect good leaders, these other ones might not don't assassinate them, because it's not just about the majority, but it's also having the balance in power, not imbalance in power. We need to have balance in power, so that we can be a society, we can be a country, we can be people that always stand for what is wrong. What is wrong is wrong. No matter you put different shades, you color it, you name it different things, it is still going to be wrong. While what is right. Whether you try to dim it in a bad light, is still going to be right. So I'm going to leave you here and just say that change does not come overnight. It takes hard work, determination, and we also need to be allies of change, especially social, economical, and environmental changes that they're affecting all of us. Like, it affects all of us. If a country is in turmoil, everybody's in turmoil. Whether you are the billionaire in that country, whether you are not, whether you are the most poorest person in that country, we get to be affected. The magnitude of these impacts might be different, but we are all being affected in one way or the other. So let's try to be the change that we need to see in this world, by being those people that we need to be, to rise up and to take accountability, and to take steps for good leaders and good leadership, by number one, voting for the right people, and then number two, these leaders being accountable for the things they are failing to do and things they are not doing. And if they're doing the right thing, let's also be able to praise them and say, this our leader, or our president is a good president. But we need to put people accountable, number one, but also we need to put ourselves accountable, because most of the time we're the one, if it's fair election, we're the ones who are voting for these people over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because of their tribe, because of their family name, because of their lineage. We don't want change. But then how can we expect change from the same people who have been in governance for 40 years, for 50 years, for 60 years, for 20 years? If change didn't come, then how are they going to do it in the last 5 or 10 years? So we also need to be as wise as possible, so that people don't take us for granted. So this is a hard topic, and I really want to dig deep about it. And that's why I just say social injustice generally, plus also power imbalance in general terms. I have given example with some countries, but I didn't go deep into it. Please, I do not know a lot of information apart from doing my own research and reading what's available online. So don't hunt me, don't taunt me, because I do not know anything. Anyway, I know when it comes to politics and social injustice and all these things, it's a hard topic, but it's also a very challenging topic because people support different parts. I'm not supporting any. I'm just supporting the right and the wrong. And there's no such thing as gray. What is wrong, it is wrong. Anything that is taking the fundamental rights of human rights, it is wrong. We should stand against that. Thank you. Bye.